Today we will come to a movie that has won the most awards ever, including the Golden Globe Awards as well as the Oscars. That is, Hacksaw Ridge. A historical war drama. Talks about a bizarre rookie, Desmond Doss. He didn't like war but he still decided to join the military. Doss just went in and saw a naked soldier training. On the other side, two young men were throwing knives at each other's legs. The commander suddenly appeared. One of them was startled and the knife hit the other rookie's leg. The commander was very angry, drawing a knife from the rookie's leg, and ordered him to practice as usual. The nude rookie could not get dressed in time. The commander forced him to gather naked. Hurry up, nudist. Doss didn't like war. He saw everyone holding a gun. Only him didn't. Doss told the commander that he had sworn not to touch the gun. The commander nonchalantly said that fighting without holding a gun. Then how would you fight? Because Doss was beaten by his father when he was a child. Once he almost shot his father dead. Since then he blamed himself and swore never to touch guns again. But when World War II broke out, he still insisted on enlistment. The commander didn't care about Doss's oath. Much as he was scolded, he still did not give up the oath. The commander had to take Doss to meet the lieutenant. The lieutenant laughed sarcastically, deciding to expel Doss, and have him see a psychiatrist to show that his mental health had problems. But he showed absolutely no signs of neuropathy, couldn't use psychological reasons to expel him, so the lieutenant played the secret game. He said to the commander, "Let the soldiers of the lower level bully and beat Doss, making him unbearable and leave the team." Doss was assigned to the heaviest jobs. The rookies took advantage of his oath, never to use violence, then hit and laughed at him, forcing him to fight back, but Doss could bear it. The commander suddenly turned his bed in anger, also punished the whole team because of Doss. One evening, in bed, Doss was turned over by his teammates. People beat him again, making him injured all over. Even his teammate who bullied him could not help, asking him why he hadn't yet gone. On the second day, the commander went on patrol. Seeing blood stains on Doss's pillow, and the bruise on his face, he also softened his voice, advising him, "All right, that's not good for everyone." Doss was heartbroken, but still refused. The commander accepted his stubbornness, then told Doss to point out who had hit him. He replied, "Nobody hit me." Doss's resilient and tolerant behavior made the commander admire. After that, Doss had to deal with even greater difficulties. The battalion commander decided to take him to the military court, as well as imprison him. Doss was extremely angry and dolorous. When his wife came to visit him, he told her with tears in his eyes, "I just don't want to hold a gun. Why do I become a criminal?" Doss was later adjudged guilty. Right on the court, his father suddenly burst in. He wore the clothes of a retired veteran, and gave the judge a letter. He read the letter. The letter defined Doss had given up the right to use a gun. So, greater than the battalion commander cancelled the denunciation. The judge restored his position. Finally, Doss became a military medical officer, hence he didn't need to hold a gun. Soon after, training was over. They went to Okinawa, Japan. The squad had to attack an important site named Hacksaw Ridge, but that place was extremely dangerous. The U.S. troop had attacked 6 times but they were all repelled. Every car was loaded with bodies. Hacksaw Ridge was a dangerous cliff. Soldiers were required to use wire nets to climb. They just climbed, seeing blood fall. Some people were so scared that they didn't dare to raise their heads. You can see how fierce the above-mentioned battlefield was. But when they climbed to the top, they saw a dead land again. Where was the Japanese military? Fog everywhere. They slowly moved forward. Each step saw a body. There were also many mice. A rookie came in front of a body. Body suddenly jumped up. The two of them shouted together. Then came the sound of gunshots. The punishment of hell had come. Guns shot, bombs exploded. Some were killed by guns. Some was killed by a bomb. In that moment, bones were broken, flesh and blood scattered. The military medical's call resounded continuously. A rookie rushed forward, pointing the gun at the Japanese. Another Japanese soldier came to attack the rookie. A comrade knocked out the Japanese soldier, until the rookie shot the Japanese soldier dead. He realized that his comrades who had saved him. It was Doss, who had neither a gun nor a knife. This rookie name is Smitty. In the training barracks, he assumed that Doss was a sissy. So he had always bullied Doss. Until that day he saw Doss's courage. Doss continued to risk his life to save the other. He found a soldier with 2 legs blown off. Doss helped him stop the bleeding. Another military medical came to tell him, "Get a dose of morphine and go," because this man only lived 1 more day at most. The wounded begged Doss not to leave. Doss firmly said he absolutely would not abandon him, then carried him toward the cliff. Doss went back to the battlefield, bowing down to run through the rain of bombs and bullets. The Japanese army's gun force was still extremely cruel. They still aimed and shot non-stop. Some people hiding in a large iron barrel fired off machine guns repeatedly. The commander ordered 2 soldiers to take turns holding the dynamite. The 2 of them quickly approached. But one person was knocked out by a bomb. Another climbed and threw in explosives. The battle scene turned around. The Americans shot back the Japanese. A significant number of soldiers had been injured. The army chief gave orders to take turns guarding. Doss wanted to continue saving people, so he volunteered. Smitty was with him. It was not until late at night that the 2 of them stopped to rest, telling each other stories about themselves. They became friends on the battlefield. It was just early morning. The entire Japanese stormed in. Thousands of people formed a suicide army, crazily stormed towards the Americans. Their attack was extremely strong. 1 person died, 10 more people stormed. Someone even opened grenades to kill the enemy. The American front line was defeated in the blink of an eye. The commander immediately ordered a retreat and called for artillery support at the same time. Smitty rushed forward and he was hit. Doss quickly approached. Smitty breathed weakly. I'm scared. I'm scared. Doss didn't wait any longer, carrying his teammate on his shoulder, running through many gunshots. But when he got to the cliff side, Smitty had been dead. Doss was in great pain. His teammates were retreating gradually. Firecrackers, bombs exploded non-stop. But he did not move. Doss didn't want to go. He cried sadly. Suddenly Doss heard a cry for help from the fire. He stood up. Towards the explosive bombs, Doss found the first lucky survivor. He pulled him to the side of the cliff, using the rope to tie him up, then dropped it down. At the foot of the cliff, only 2 people remained. Suddenly they saw someone being dropped off. They quickly carried the wounded. They had absolutely no idea who the hero above was. Doss still saved lives, even though the bombs were still exploding. The fog dissolved. The Japanese came out. They walked and killed the American soldiers who were still alive. Doss was hiding, then he heard a cry for help. He quickly crawled over. Japanese soldiers were also walking towards them. Japanese soldiers are coming soon. Doss immediately buried his comrade in the sand and covered himself with another body. Japanese soldiers approached Doss, greater than then stopped. The knife mounted on the gun head pierced the corpse, but fortunately did not hit Doss. He quickly helped that comrade. The Japanese continued to scavenge the surviving American soldiers. Doss had been discovered. Guns shot at him simultaneously. He quickly dodged the bullets and entered the tunnel, trying to escape the Japanese. Next to where he was hiding, a Japanese was seriously injured. Doss quickly bandaged him up and got a dose of hormone injection. The Japanese watched him and just expressed thanking in silence. Late at night, Doss continued to come out to save people. Someone was dropped down again. Every time he saved a person, he all prayed, God, please help me save one more person. Save the next person, he pleaded again. His hand bled and no power left. He was too tired to stand up. Every time he fell, he all said to himself, one more person, please help me save another person. That belief helped him to get up. Everyone in the military quickly brought the injured for treatment. Someone said, on top of the Hacksaw there was a hero, sending down one by one, including some Japanese. The following day, the lieutenant entered, seeing the injured lying everywhere. He was surprised and asked a wounded person lying there, wasn't there only 32 people yesterday? Why are so many now? When he asked everyone answered that, it's Doss who saved me. Meanwhile, Doss was on top of Hacksaw, found the commander and his muscular comrade. The commander praised him for the first time. You are so strong. Doss took his muscular comrade away, then went back to find the commander. At that moment, the Japanese also arrived. Doss took hold of the commander's gun, but not to kill, just saw it as a handle. Wrapping it in the cloth, he pulled the commander and ran crazily. Behind him, the commander used the gun to control the Japanese soldiers. To the side of the cliff, he brought the commander down first. Doss then, carrying an injured man, jumped down. Japanese soldiers came to the cliff side, firing repeatedly at Doss. The comrades below shot them back. Doss was safe. This time he found out. Everyone came to pat him on the shoulder. He couldn't stand up anymore. They all saw this hero be assisted to walk with admiration. Later on, the lieutenant found Doss and sincerely apologized to him. The lieutenant said that he had mistaken Doss. The next day the lieutenant decided to capture Hacksaw again. Before the battle, at the foot of the mountain, everyone was looking in the same direction, not waiting for an order, but waiting for Doss to pray for them. That day, Doss had become their spiritual support. The prayer ended. They climbed on the Hacksaw again. The courage of all people surged. They stormed and defeated the enemy. Finally, the Japanese raised the white flag. But the Japanese were now naked, taking out grenades again, and threw towards Doss. Without weapons he dealt with the first grenade as it flew over, then used his foot to kick the second one. This time he was hit. His teammates quickly carried him back. Doss's hand gripped the Bible tightly. This is the mark of a wonderful hero who had never held a gun. A true story in World War II. There was a Japanese prisoner once said. He once saw a military medical officer on top of Hacksaw. Every time he was shot, the bullets all got stuck. From beginning to end. Doss's oath was so solid that it made others give in. On the battle with an empty stomach, life and death were unknown. But Doss still decided not to eat canned meat. Then no one could force him. Even the war couldn't. Desmond Doss died in 2006. At the age of 87, a person can really be protected by beliefs. Just be sincere.